carers of a North London girl have been jailed for life for her killing. Tom Bateman has more on this disturbing case.
This is being described as one of Britain's worst ever cases of child abuse.
Victoria repeatedly slipped through the net of social services and the NHS as people failed to spot her plight. Her post-mortem revealed 128 separate injuries on her body.
The government has ordered an inquiry.
Haringey Council's Child Protection Agency admitted it was partly to blame.
The lesson's finished, but what you're going to do for homework, very easy.
One of the issues that faces schools is having the courage sometimes to go for a fully inclusive, every child matters agenda, because there is a risk when you're starting to talk about alternative courses that if you haven't got students on a straight diet of GCSEs, if you haven't got a pure A-level sixth form, then point scores might suffer. Personally, I think, well, we have the children that we have and their needs are what they are and their aspirations are what they are, and our job is to create aspiration within those children for whom it's difficult, to give them self-confidence and to give them avenues for success, whatever those avenues are, because whatever we can do is going to engage those children more fully with school, which is going to reduce problems elsewhere, is going to make them people who are confident learners and people who are confident to go out in society and make a difference.
What's the problem? Is it the amount you have to do? Is it, for example, you're finding it hard to spell, or...?
George Green's school constantly reviews pupils' progress to make sure they fulfil their potential.
Won't give us a lot of time.
Not enough time to do it in.
Of course there is a connection between inclusion and attainment. If you're trying to include youngsters of every ability, which we have in this school, we're a true comprehensive school. So our job is to meet the needs of the more able and talented, of the sort of the average ones in the middle, those with the SEN difficulties and those with additional needs. We've got all sorts here. Now, every child there matters to us, and as long as we can show progress for each individual child, that's what makes a difference.
The big fear for schools is that the extra effort needed to treat pupils as individuals won't be reflected in the league tables. But the DFES are proposing a new way for schools to highlight the work they do.
The new school profiles give schools the opportunity to explain in a more individualised way how they go about helping support children. And interestingly, one of the clear responses we got back from parents were that they were very interested in understanding not just what the school did to support the educational achievement of pupils, but also the other ways in which the schools help their children to be happy, not to be bullied, to eat well at school, and all of those things are what parents want to see in school profiles.
At George Green's school, their multi-agency team's ability to act quickly improves their capacity to include more pupils at risk of being excluded, and more who would otherwise have been placed in special schools.
We have a sixth form entry-level provision for young people with a range of learning disabilities and often combined with physical disabilities as well. There's quite a few kids, for example, with Down syndrome in there. That's quite a very good example of the need to integrate services. The vast majority of them have their own social worker. The vast majority of them have quite complex and advanced medical needs as well. So when you're reviewing the kids, it's essential that there are professionals from social services and from the health professions as well, so that we can make sure we're following a joined-up approach with them.
What kind of things do you think we'll be doing in Devon?
My first time going.
It's your first time going, isn't it? So you've not been before?
No.
Okay. What we'll do is, every day we'll do a different activity. Canoeing, rock climbing, horse riding, archery. Nice. Does that sound good? And the canoeing's really good because what they do is, because some kids aren't very stable on their feet, they strap together two canoes like that, so it's really stable, so the kids don't fall out. But they still feel, they've still got the experience of being on the water and being in a canoe.
Hi Kathleen, you alright? How's everything going?
Okay.
Yeah? How's the review been?
Fine, yes.
Is everything okay?
The main advantages of working in this school is the fact that we've been in this business for so long, if you like, that the people from the other agencies are very familiar to us and they counted amongst our friends rather than simply colleagues and other professionals that we'll meet on an irregular basis. I think having some social workers actually based in the school, so we meet them every day and they're part of the sort of fabric of the school, makes it much easier to develop a working relationship whereby you understand each other and you can act much more quickly. Okay, in that classroom there's a new Year 8 boy who's just started this morning, who has a statement of special educational needs for a combination of ADHD and dyslexia. So I was just having a check to see that everything's okay. He's come from another school where his parents have felt that the provision isn't suited to his needs. And he's come here and he seems fine. So there we go, let's hope that continues past this morning.
Despite their on-site resources, George Green School still faces difficult challenges, and inclusion remains a real struggle for some pupils.
Right, James, how's school going at the moment?
Okay, it's going well.
Right, what's going particularly well?
I'm getting out of trouble. I'm not getting into trouble than what I was before.
Right, so out of the things that you do, which do you think is the most useful?
I reckon not getting into trouble is more useful.
Do you find working down here with the sixth formers a place where it's easy to stay out of trouble?
Yeah.
Okay. So where are you still getting in trouble, Jamie? Or where do you still have difficulty behaving?
When I'm out in the playground and stuff like that, I find myself getting into trouble then.
Right. And what kind of things do you think we could be doing to support you out there? What would you like to see change?
Yeah, so I can have more friends.
Right. James came to us from a primary special school, and we've had a great deal of trouble trying to include him in the school. He has a diagnosis of ADHD. Historically, he would not have been able to be included in the school. He'd have been kicked out. He might have gone to a pupil referral unit, and that wouldn't have helped him at all. It would have further damaged an already that fragile self-esteem. He wouldn't be in an environment necessarily that would have met his needs, but he'd have been out of our hair, wouldn't he? So that would have been quite useful for us, I suppose. What we're trying to do in the school is actually look at the wider social costs and the wider, and also the cost to the individual of the decisions that we make on a daily basis. And if you have someone like James becoming an adult, having not had his needs met, then he's obviously going to be a major financial cost on social services and other systems that are in place as well to support him.
Exclusion, as a last resort, is often seen to be the only option, and the drive to be fully inclusive will put great pressure on schools and demand a large commitment.
The biggest difficulty continues to be, and still is, communication between different people, and that goes for within the school and outside the school as well. It's very, very easy still, with this number of professionals involved. You may have a family with a very chaotic life that find it very hard to organise anything.
I met her mother. To be honest, she wasn't very forthcoming about any of the ideas that we were suggesting. We were trying to talk.
The other thing is the sheer volume of work that we're doing. As more becomes available on site, I think we're uncovering more need in our community. So the more and more we offer, the demand seems to be spiralling. It's a bit like that thing they say, if you build another motorway, it'll be full within a week, and that certainly seems to be happening here.
We've got to contain the behaviour from today, because if she's been violent towards a child, we've got to protect that child. We have no option but to go for the exclusion.
I think the approach of schools to ECM is going to be very important. It's going to be crucial to its success, really. There has to be an openness, there has to be a willingness to go out and work with people, to go out and get involved with their community, with other professionals, to really know about all the factors that are impinging on their children's lives, and to really be willing to try to influence things beyond the school gates.
At 5 to 3, the normal school day ends at Mayfield, where their responsibility would previously have ended. But Every Child Matters outlines a new boundary of responsibility beyond the school gates. To fully engage pupils and get parental and community involvement, extended schools can offer something away from the curriculum, becoming the social and cultural hub of a community.
Absolutely fundamental to our decision to apply for extended school status was a desire to engage with parents much more fully and with the community much more fully, and to find out what it was that we could do to enhance the life of the area, if you like, to contribute, to make a much more positive contribution to what's going on around us.
Let's start with our scales, first scales. Ready? 2, 3, sing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 7, 6, 5.
If successful, schools that receive funding for extended services have the freedom to spend their money as they wish, depending on the needs of their community. Patsy Martin lives locally and comes in once a week to take a gospel singing class.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
One aspect of the extended school is the provision of out-of-school activities. And the gospel choir is one such activity that particularly, if you like, addresses some of the needs of our particular student population, but not deliberately or only just targeted at them. It draws in lots of friends from lots of other cultures. Our school is very multicultural, so there are lots of Asian students and English students who too would like to join in an activity like this.
I used to play this game, yeah. What we used to do is we'd sit there and you'd get a subject or something to rhyme about, and you'd have to do it.
Let's hear the subject first.
School.
And in school, and I come to learn, not jacking heads, steal money, that's not what I earn. I did my SATs in year 6, moved to year 7, that was quite hard, but then I moved to year 8.
A rapping class may not be what every school has in mind, but at Mayfield it is a hugely popular option for pupils who may not otherwise be in school.
English, French and science. Oh man,
that was good, that was good.
Over the last 2 years, we've broadened the curriculum quite considerably because we felt that there was a group of children, or groups of children, who weren't really fully getting what they could from school, so that students can really have something different as part of their week, have something that they look forward, something else to come to school for. And what we're finding is that that's having knock-on effects in the curriculum elsewhere for them, where they are much more engaged, much more keen to succeed.
My name's Jerome. I might have a reputation, but I'm here to go to school to get education. Trust me, it's about concentration, and I'm just here to change the nation. Yeah.
Yeah, he's here to change the nation.
Where we're talking about, are these children able and capable and confident to be able to go into a world where the only real certainty is that there's going to be more and more change? Where we've got children now in school, probably most of them, who really are going to be doing jobs in 20, 30, 40 years' time that I haven't even imagined yet. And when we're in that sort of situation and in that kind of climate, the best thing that we can do for them is to focus on them as individuals and build their confidence as people who can learn and succeed and go out and make a real contribution to the world and look after themselves.
I know there are some heads in some schools that are very high performing, where they've got parents that are involved who want nothing to do with the sort of things that we've got to do with. But I think that society is changing so much. We have, you know, a young population that have lots of issues to deal with. We have lots of parents who are not able to parent as well as they should be, that need help in that. I think communities need help and need to be worked with. And I think that's our responsibility. So I would think that this model fits anywhere as long as people are willing to take that on board and look at what it's all about. If we don't take on board social inclusion as well as the achievement, our societies won't be able to cope. We may have as many GCSEs as we like, but if we can't get on with each other, what use is that, really?